A beat-up car, worn clothes, one glance, and they judged. But in minutes, greed collapses, pride shatters, proving why you should never judge a person by their appearance. The late afternoon sun settled over an old auto repair shop, casting lazy streaks of gold across the peeling walls and grease-smeared windows. Chris's Car Repairs, the faded name on the wooden sign, threw a long shadow onto the cracked concrete, stained with oil marks that no rain could wash away. Inside, the heavy air smelled of hot metal and machine oil. A cluster of mechanics gathered around a sagging cake perched on a workbench, its cheap frosting already melting under the sweltering shop lights. In the center stood Frank, gray-haired, grease-stained overalls, a patient smile etched into his weathered face. 15 years, Frank said, voice rough but steady, fixing engines, snapping bolts, and dealing with folks who think a little prayer will fix a blown head gasket. A few chuckles broke out. Frank raised his paper cup, a glint of emotion in his eyes. To family. To family, the crew echoed, some hearty, some just polite. Next to Frank, Mr. Collins, the shop's owner, clapped him on the back, his dark blazer slightly dusty but no less dignified. Frank, Mr. Collins said, voice low, you've been the soul of this place. Now it's time for you to enjoy the good life. Frank smiled, a little bittersweet. I'll miss it, even the smell of burnt oil. The group laughed louder this time. Mr. Collins's tone shifted. But when one door closes, another opens. We need a new shop manager. A buzz of whispers rippled across the floor. And no, not based on seniority or who makes the best coffee, Mr. Collins added dryly, glancing at Travis, who was fiddling with his cheap tie. I'll promote whoever brings in the most revenue today. One day, one shot. Silence fell, thick and tense. Travis, tall, sharp-featured, straightened, rubbing his palms together like a man already counting his winnings. Beside him, Ethan merely offered a small, serene smile, the kind that infuriated men like Travis. Better get used to calling me boss, Travis muttered, his voice a smug hiss. Start by picking up those rags. Ethan chuckled softly but didn't respond. Just then, the door chimed. A middle-aged man stepped inside, faded jeans, worn jacket, scuffed sneakers. He clutched a set of keys, his stance hesitant, uncertain. Travis gave him a once-over and scoffed. Another freeloader. The man, Mr. Parker, though they didn't know it yet, approached the counter. Hi, my tire pressure light's on. Could someone check it? Travis sniffed. We don't do free air refills. Try the gas station. Mr. Parker's face fell. I'm not sure it'll make it. Travis shrugged. Not my problem. Before Mr. Parker could walk away, Ethan stepped up, wiping his hands. No problem. Pull it in. I'll check it. Mr. Parker gave a grateful nod and headed back to his car. Travis sneered. See why you'll never be a manager? You can tell who's worth it just by looking. Ethan smiled calmly. You should never judge a book by its cover. Never judge a book by its cover. Travis rolled his eyes. Yeah, good luck with that. Ethan knelt by the car, topping off the tire air quickly and efficiently. All set, Ethan said, standing up. Just a little low. How much do I owe you? Mr. Parker asked. No charge, Ethan replied. Here at Chris's Car Repairs, we treat customers like family. Mr. Parker smiled, genuine and wide. Thank you. I'll remember this. As he drove away, Travis nudged Ethan, smirking. Yeah, right, like he's coming back. Ethan simply returned to his tools. Outside, the sun poured honey-colored light over the shop, calm, quiet, and brimming with the promise that things were far from over. Because today was only just beginning. The afternoon crawled on at Chris's Car Repairs, the sun now hanging low, tinting the cracked concrete in hues of burnt orange. Inside, Travis prowled the shop floor like a wolf hungry for a kill, his eyes darting toward the entrance every time the door chimed, though lately it hadn't. Business was slow, too slow for Travis's liking. Near the back, Ethan worked steadily, his movements unhurried, as if he wasn't part of some unspoken race. To him, the day was just another day to do right by people, not some gladiator match to prove himself. Travis, however, thought otherwise. Every minute that ticked by without a new customer felt like a personal insult. Then salvation. The door chimed. Travis's head snapped toward the sound. A woman walked in mid-20s, casual jeans, a simple white tee, her hair pulled back in a loose ponytail. She looked around, car keys dangling from one hand. Travis's lips curled into a smirk. "Well, well," he muttered under his breath. "Looks like Christmas came early." He quickly straightened his posture and plastered on his best customer service smile. The woman stepped up to the counter, her voice polite but firm. "Hi, my check engine light came on. I think it might be the spark plugs. Can someone help?" Ethan moved instinctively to respond, but Travis threw a hand out, cutting him off. "I'll take care of this," Travis said, voice dripping with artificial charm. The woman, Christina, smiled faintly, but something flickered in her eyes. If Travis noticed, he didn't show it. "Well, sweetheart," Travis said, dragging out the word like a dirty joke, "it could be spark plugs, but it could also be a serious engine problem." Christina's smile tightened. "It's Christina, actually, and I'm pretty sure it's just the plugs." Travis chuckled, low and patronizing. "Tell you what, why don't you leave it to the experts?" Before Christina could protest, Travis was already waving her toward the lounge area, a couple of battered chairs, and a coffee machine older than some of the cars they serviced. "Take a load off," he said. "I'll run a full inspection. Only $250. Worth every penny." Christina hesitated, her jaw tightening just slightly. Then she nodded and moved to sit, her face unreadable. As Travis popped the hood, Ethan lingered nearby, arms folded, his face giving nothing away. He didn't like the gleam in Travis's eye. He'd seen it before. That look Travis got when he smelled a payday. Travis leaned over the engine, poking and prodding like he was searching for buried treasure. He sighed dramatically, just loud enough for Christina to hear. "Oh boy," he said, shaking his head. "What is it?" Christina called out. "Well," Travis said, straightening up, "it's bad, real bad. You're looking at a blown head gasket, oil leaks, spark plugs fried. The works. If you don't replace the engine soon, you're gonna be stuck on the side of the road." Christina didn't blink. "How much?" Travis smiled like a shark. $5,000. Maybe 6, depending on labor." Across the shop, Ethan's hands stilled. His face didn't change, but the tension in his shoulders did. Christina sat back in the lounge chair, crossing one leg over the other, calm, controlled. "I really think it's just the spark plugs," she said. Travis desked, shaking his head. "You can't be too careful, Christina. You might have read a few DIY car blogs, but this is serious business. Trust me." From the corner, Ethan shifted his weight, biting his tongue. This wasn't his fight. Not yet. Travis scribbled on a clipboard, pushing a paper across the counter toward her. "Sign here, and we'll get started." Christina glanced at the paper but made no move to pick up the pen. She smiled instead, a small, knowing smile. "Give me a moment," she said, standing. Without another word, Christina walked out to her car, opened the trunk, and pulled out a small, worn toolbox. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Travis stared, frown deepening. Christina returned to the vehicle, popped the hood again, and set to work with quiet efficiency. Needle nose pliers, ratchet with a long extension, spark plugs out, new ones in, movements practiced, smooth, the kind that only came from real, hands-on experience. Travis could only gape, clipboard dangling uselessly from his hand. Ethan smirked, just a little. In less than 15 minutes, Christina wiped her hands clean, closed the hood with a satisfying clunk, and slid into the driver's seat. The engine turned over instantly, humming a perfect, steady rhythm. No warning lights, no smoke, no leaks. She stepped out, tossing her rag onto the workbench with casual precision. "All fixed," she said, dusting off her hands. Travis still hadn't moved. Ethan watched as Christina locked eyes with Travis, her voice light but cool. "You know, you really shouldn't judge a book by its cover." Travis opened his mouth to respond, but nothing came out. Christina smiled, serene, and walked away, leaving Travis standing there, red-faced, clipboard still in hand. Ethan whistled low under his breath. The shop was silent save for the faint tick of the cooling engine. And somewhere in the thick oil-scented air, it was obvious. The day had only just begun, and Travis's problems were only getting started. Travis stood rooted to the floor, clipboard dangling loosely from his hand, the roar of Christina's perfectly tuned engine still echoing in his ears. Ethan leaned casually against the workbench, arms crossed, a small, knowing smile playing on his lips. Christina sauntered up to the counter, retrieved her keys, and shot Travis a look not angry, not smug, but razor-sharp all the same. "Thanks for the inspection," she said lightly, voice like a breeze but cutting deep. "And next time, don't judge a book by its cover." Without another word, she turned and strolled out, leaving behind the faint scent of motor oil and a silence heavier than lead. Travis gulped, cheeks burning red. He forced a crooked smile, but Ethan had already turned away, returning to his tools as if nothing had happened. The door chimed again. Travis's head snapped up, hungry for redemption. Mr. Parker walked in. Only, this wasn't the hesitant, worn-down man from earlier. He was sharp now, dark jeans, leather jacket, polished shoes. And outside, gleaming under the setting sun, was a classic silver Porsche, sleek and spotless. Travis blinked. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Mr. Parker approached the counter with calm confidence, placing his Porsche keys on the counter with a gentle clink. "Good afternoon," he said smoothly. "I'd like to upgrade my Porsche. New rims, a full paint job, and an upgraded sound system. Can you handle that?" Ethan stepped forward immediately. "Absolutely, sir. It would be our pleasure." Travis stumbled forward too, flashing his salesman's grin. "Of course, sir. I can get you a quote right away." But Mr. Parker barely glanced at Travis, turning his full attention to Ethan. "You're the one who helped me this morning, right?" Ethan nodded. "Just checked your tire pressure, sir." Mr. Parker smiled. Sometimes a small kindness goes a long way. Travis's smile faltered. "What's the ballpark cost?" Mr. Parker asked. Ethan did the math quickly. Around 10,000 depending on the specs. Mr. Parker didn't flinch. "Perfect. Let's get started." He pulled out a platinum credit card and tapped it lightly on the counter. Travis could only watch as Ethan processed the transaction and handed over the receipt. "Thanks for trusting us," Ethan said sincerely. Mr. Parker tucked the receipt into his jacket, his eyes locking briefly onto Travis. "Thanks for not judging a book by its cover." Travis said nothing. He couldn't. At the doorway, Christina leaned casually against the frame, arms crossed, watching it all unfold with a faint smile. Mr. Parker gave a polite nod and left, leaving Travis standing there, clipboard still in hand, utterly defeated. Ethan caught Christina's eye, and they shared a brief, silent laugh. From his office, Mr. Collins emerged, arms folded, saying nothing but his gaze spoke volumes as it fell on Travis. The shop fell into a suffocating silence. Travis stood frozen, his face flushed a furious red. Ethan leaned against the workbench, arms crossed, watching without a word. Christina sauntered back, calm and unhurried, as if she had all the time in the world. She stopped beside Mr. Collins and smiled lightly. "Dad," she said casually, as if they were chatting at home, "I think it's time we reconsider who should be managing this place." The words hit the room like a hammer. Travis's eyes widened in horror, and the rest of the mechanics turned to stare, stunned into silence. Mr. Collins straightened, clasping his hands behind his back. "Some of you might not know," he said, voice steady. "Christina is my daughter." A ripple of whispers ran through the shop. Travis swallowed hard, feeling the sweat start to bead on his forehead. Mr. Collins took a few measured steps forward, his gaze never leaving Travis. Christina worked here at Chris's car repairs from the very beginning. She grew up among engines, carburetors, and the sweat-soaked summers in this very shop. He paused, his tone sharpening. "And if any of you ever wondered where the name Chris's car repairs came from," he added with a faint smile, "yes, it's named after her." The silence deepened. Christina stood tall, her eyes cold and cutting as they locked onto Travis. You might fool people who don't know cars, she said, her voice quiet but firm. But today, you picked the wrong person. Travis opened his mouth, but no sound came out. Christina stepped closer, the weight of her words hanging in the air with each step. Here, she continued, we don't just fix cars, we build trust. And the first rule to earning that trust, she paused, gaze piercing, is respecting every customer, no matter what car they drive or what clothes they wear. Mr. Collins nodded. Exactly. A manager here needs more than just skills, they need heart. And they need to understand that you should never judge a book by its cover. Travis stood motionless, the bravado drained from his face. Christina looked him straight in the eye, her voice calm as a still lake. You forgot that lesson, and today you're paying the price. Ethan watched quietly, inwardly impressed. Christina hadn't needed to yell or threaten, she let the truth do the work. The shop was dead silent. Everyone understood. Travis had run out of road. Christina exhaled lightly, her shoulders relaxing. She cast a quick glance at Ethan, a spark of amusement in her eyes, then turned and walked out of the shop. Behind her, Travis remained frozen, the weight of the day crushing down on him. And the day wasn't over yet. The sun dipped behind the worn tin roof, casting the repair shop in a soft golden glow. Ethan tightened his grip on his tools, a calm resolve in his eyes. Outside, Christina leaned casually against her car, a quiet, satisfied smile on her lips. Inside, Travis packed up his things in silence, leaving without a glance back. The day ended without fanfare, only the lingering lesson remained. Never judge a book by its cover. Thank you for watching video.